Trent Williams treats the 49ers like an ATM card. What's up? Welcome to the show. This is the coaches meeting. I'm Grant Cohn. That's the coach. The question today is whether the Niners should extend Trent Williams. We're going to start there. We're also going to do a bunch of stuff on free agency and the drafts. It's going to be a longer show. But first, let's start with Trent Williams. He clearly wants an extension. I asked John Lynch. He says he's open to giving an extension. What do you think? What's the right move here?
I don't think they should, but they will. I think that as far as like logistically and as far as the money is concerned, Trent has got the Niners in a leverage position. This is exactly what happens when you have a head coach that basically is final saying word, Grant. This is the type of conundrums that you put yourself in. There's no separation of duties to be able to have a GM and a front office that deals with these players and their contracts removed from the coaching staff. We've heard about this many times as Kyle has implemented himself or put himself in the process of Trent Williams, making sure that he's, if not the top highest paid left tackle in the NFL, but at least top two, which he is right now behind Rashad Slater. Right now, from a player perspective, I can't ignore the fact that he's exercising everything within his rights, right? So it's hard to villainize Trent from just a binary standpoint of ones and zeros, right? You got him in the right position. They're ready. You don't want to have you want guaranteed money. You're near the end of your career. You've also came in as a second league All-Pro. Strike while the iron is hot. I get it. But as far as building this team, transitioning out of the core, and actually addressing the offensive line in a real way, this may be the Band-Aid that has to get ripped off for the 49ers. I think that they're going to sign him. I do believe that just based off of the temperament of John Lynch yesterday. I mean, he seemed really happy-go-lucky, bro. He didn't seem like there was a lot of tension afoot. And I think that they're probably going to do him a 2+1 deal with a void at the end to give themselves an out. I just don't believe that they think that they can start tackle that they pick up in the first round and be okay with it. I don't see a problem with it. I hear this narrative that goes around with the Niners don't have a plan. You know, what's the Niners' plan? They don't have a plan to replace Trent Williams. The plan is to get another guy. That's the plan. Preferably in the first round. And if they would have did this in 2024, when we had the most offensive line laden draft in the past 20 years, which was loaded, Grant. You know this. Trent did this again, right? He put the Niners in a crossroad to let them say, all right, go into the unknown, into the deep, see if you can get yourself a starting tackle, my successor in the draft, or you pay me, and the Niners bent the knee. This is the exact same situation all over again. How we required Trent, if you remember, there were talks of us almost losing him to Kansas City. And Trent had to call Kyle, and Kyle swooped in at the last minute and paid him again. At some point, we have to get out of this cycle. We have to break it. But I do believe that the Niners are probably looking to replace one offensive lineman this year in the way of probably free agency or draft, and that would be left guard. So I do believe that they sign him, although I don't agree with them doing it. I think they should move on.
I think they should move on, too. I don't understand what the point of holding on to such an expensive 38-year-old offensive tackle. Like, if you were the best team in the league like you were a few years ago, I could understand paying him and saying, like, look, we're still in our Super Bowl window. And even though he's not what he was 2 years ago, he's still one of the best offensive tackles in the league. But you're not in your Super Bowl window anymore. That's over. Mm-hmm. The Seahawks are in their Super Bowl window, and the Rams are in their Super Bowl window. And you're trying to be better than the Cardinals for the worst team in the division. And right now you are. You're firmly the third best team in the division. But so what's the point of having Trent Williams? You're not going to win the Super Bowl this year. And
Yeah.
he was significantly worse at 37 than he was at 36. He was still good at 37, but he was significantly worse. He got hurt at the end of the year. He wasn't good in the playoffs. I don't see what you're paying for and why you want him at 39 and 40 when you're trying to rebuild. You're trying to catch the Seahawks and the Rams, who have already rebuilt their teams. They're young. They're improving. You're holding on. It doesn't make sense. I mean, let this guy finish his career somewhere else.
Hey man, this is the equivalent of having a Ferrari in Section 8. It don't belong there, right? I get exactly what you're saying.
Bad fit.
You know, if we were in the middle of a championship window and the situation and the circumstances called for it, where, hey, we're here to spend the money, this is the guy that we went out and traded for, it would completely rock the core. The synergy of the team will be off if we moved on from a Trent Williams. What would that say to a successor, or probably getting somebody serious enough to bring him in? All of that counts when you're going after a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But some of these guys ain't built for the rebuild. And that's okay. All right. And in the middle
when the
of
Niners
rebuild,
Super Bowl window opens again, Trent Williams will be 41.
Yeah. Which means that he won't be in time. And this is the thing as well. With players in that stage of their career, there is no gradual fall off. It is a night and day. It just happens. All of a sudden, he just can't come up to camp and get in shape in the first 3 games of the season and be Trent Williams again. That is not going to continue to happen every year. I just believe that if they really had the courage of their convictions, they'd stab out into the draft. There's a lot of great tackles in this year's draft. Just offensive line, period. This draft, just as far as talent is concerned, compared to last year's draft, is night and day. The first top 10 picks in this year's draft would push all of the top 10 picks in last year's draft down, some of them out of the first round. Michael Williams would not be the 11th overall pick if he was coming in this year's draft. Those are just the facts. So there's talent everywhere. And I think that the Niners are kind of missing a blind spot, which is they don't really believe that the fan base has discretion. Like, we don't know context. Like, we all just, at some point, coming to us and telling us that we're just going to be shooting for a Super Bowl championship window is what we need to do. Like, it's a little bit patronizing. Like, we understand that Trent Williams is what you need for a team that requires a championship push. But if Trent is angling his deal to the point where every time he runs out of guaranteed money, we have to go back into the till and repay him, how is that helping us rebuild?
And if you're so afraid to move on, it's like, okay, well, if we draft an offensive tackle, we're going to take a slight step back or maybe a significant step back at left tackle in the short term, and we can't do that. Like, well, I mean, if you take a slight step back now, who knows, maybe in a year or two, you have a much better left tackle than a 40-year-old Trent Williams. Yeah. At a certain point, you got to stop holding on to him like a binky, like a safety blanket. I mean, he was great, but he's clearly declining, and he's not going to give you a discount. And frankly, he should want to leave. He's accomplished everything. He's been first-team All-Pro. He's probably going to be a first-ballot Hall of Famer, or he's going to be a Hall of Famer for sure. The only thing left for him to accomplish is to win a Super Bowl, and he's not going to do that here. He knows it. They know it. We all know it. So let him go.
Yeah. We all know that, in a sense, Trent Williams has kind of always been a hired gun, right? Yeah. He's been a merc. We get it. And I understand that they've tried to put this holistic team perspective around Trent, where Trent Williams is not going to be in the Ring of Honor, okay? He's not going to be on the 10 years in the 10-year Niners situation, guys. Like, it's time for us to just call this what it really is. Trent Williams saved us the same way Brock Purdy saved us, all right? We picked him up in a trade where Joe Staley was not coming back, all right? The best
all-time great Niners trade. All-time great.
All-time great.
Up there with trading for Justin Smith. Remember when they did that?
Yes. Awesome. Awesome. And right when we got Trent, Joe did us a solid and kept his mouth shut, didn't say anything to the media until we finally acquired Trent. That's how we got Trent, and Trent has been here with us in some of our best times and worst times. But the biggest problems that we have isn't just wins and losses, all right? It's not just the players on the field. We have some fiscal problems with this team that we have to shake loose from. Now, we already know that there's been an organizational shift with Parag coming in and kind of heading up the contractual side of things with the players. And maybe we see another domino fall to that effect. We already saw Jauan Jennings get stonewalled with him asking for more money. And we know that right now the Brock Purdy deal was something that got put together by the organization away from the coaching staff. So I actually kind of have faith that, no pun intended, but I do have faith that the organization may stand to Trent and say, hey, look, this is the deal that we can give you. We'll probably give you 21, 22 a year. All right, we'll give you 3 years and set you out. But 28, 29 million a year, you're tipping the best left tackle tipping as the best left tackle in the NFL at 38 years old. We can't do that.
You know, it's too bad. We got to move on from Trent Williams eventually. But what's too bad that last year when the Niners had that 11th pick, that they weren't aggressive and moved up for 11. Like, they could have traded their first-round pick, their second-round pick, moved up a few spots, and gotten that left tackle who went to New Orleans. What was his name? Kelvin Benjamin. What was his name?
Yeah, Kelvin Benjamin.
Yeah, he ended up being really good. Like, and it's, to me, if you want to draft a left tackle, you're doing it in the top 10. That's why I hated the Mike McGlinchey pick. You took a right tackle in the top 10, and not a particularly great one. You can get like the Seahawks took Charles Cross in the top 10. That would have been a great opportunity. Now the Niners sit at 27, and you're thinking, well, if you do get rid of Trent Williams, like, is there someone at 27 who would be good? So why don't we talk about, well, we'll get there in a minute. We're going to talk about 27. We're talking about the number one need. We got a couple super chats. Bill Kennedy says goal is to become the oldest, slowest team in the NFL. They're right on their way, especially on offense. Too Much Sauce says, is Mike McDaniel, Harbaugh a combination beatable? Yeah, I think they're beatable, but they're going to be good. Yeah. Steve Lewis says, what amount are you okay with?
Kelvin Banks, not Kelvin Benjamin.
I don't know Kelvin Benjamin. Oh, that was the wide receiver from Florida State. Remember him? Kelvin Banks.
Big kid.
Yeah. What money are you okay with for Trent extension? I don't like the idea of committing to him beyond this season. I don't, personally.
Yeah.
I thought he took
I wouldn't mind a 1 year deal with a 2 year deal with an out at an option, but you're asking for like premium money, dude, and we just ain't in that stage anymore. Like, we got to move on.
He should want to leave unless he really thinks they're going to win a Super Bowl here because they beat Seattle week 1. All right, the number one need. I asked John Lynch, I know you have a lot of needs, but if you had to list one thing that you really want to make a concerted effort to address, what is it? And he was like, well, we want to make the team better as a whole, but we've always prided ourselves on our defensive front, being able to stop the run and get after quarterbacks. Clearly, we didn't get after the quarterback well enough last year. We want to change that. And to me, that's half of the answer. And it's always been half of the answer. And the Niners always go there. And it's fine. Do they need a better D-line? Absolutely, yes. But to me, the right answer is both trenches, not just one. And I don't understand why the Niners have had this philosophy for 10 years. What do you think?
I think that it has to do with money. Everything with them flows through making sure that the money is on the field. And they led early on in the regime, Grant. They were very bullish on, we use our draft picks, our money, and all of our resources on our front seven, right? Somewhere along the line, we got away from that. And if you look at earlier on, we did invest in the offensive line. Remember Weston Richburg? I think we made him like the highest paid center in the NFL at that time. We had went out and got Mike McGlinchey
was a first round pick. Banks was a second round pick.
They went out and got Laken Tomlinson, who was a former high round pick from, I believe, Detroit, and picked him up. So when they had the opportunity to do it and money really wasn't in the way, you see that they wanted to bolster the trenches.
Yeah, in 2019, they had 3 first round picks and a second round pick on their offensive line. And Mike Tyson. Yeah.
Right. I think that picking up Trent Williams and acquiring Christian McCaffrey gave a lot of imbalance to the offense. I really believe that and then Debo at the time, where you put so much weight into your skill guys and what they could do that basically blocking or being dominant at the line of scrimmage really wasn't a priority to you because you had guys that were dynamic in space, right?
Yeah.
Football is all about breaking the rules. We had this conversation, right? Yeah. And we had a lot
of guys.
We
don't have to be tough up front.
We don't have to be tough up front when we have a 225-pound receiver that
Enforcer,
runs
running
like a
back.
running back, right?
Yeah.
And he can break the rules, right? We
Yeah.
have a tight end in George Kittle that is basically a 4-down tight end, which is rare in today's NFL. He can do everything. He can, and at the time, George was a legit threat, a sub 4-5 runner at tight end, right? He could break the rules. Now these guys have kind of come back to earth, and the contracts and the shift of all of the things that we've done to keep these guys happy, keep them on the team, it's not worn off yet. So we have to figure out how to push forward with the money that we have on these guys. Go ahead.
Here's why I think the Niners need to really invest in the offensive line as well as the defensive line, because I feel like their offense has been figured out by the Seahawks. And what the Seahawks are showing the league and the Niners is that we don't respect your offense up front. You're soft. You're soft.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we're going to play nickel all day. We're going to play too high all day. And why is that? Because you're soft. We can push you around. There's nothing you can do that scares us to be like, well, we got to be in base. Oh, we got to bring the eighth man in the box. They're just so strong. They're bullying us. We're going to bully you with our nickel defense. And that's what they've been doing. And until the Niners are more like the Seahawks for 10 years had a rinky-dink soft offensive line. And Russell Wilson complained about it. Geno Smith complained about it. They were always under siege. Finally, Charles Cross, round 1. Gray Zabel, round 1. The right tackle, what's his freaking name? Round 3. Abe Lucas, round 3. The right guard was round 4. Like, they've drafted every single player on their offensive line. The center was an undrafted free agent, but they didn't go out and get someone else's reject. The Trent Williams trade was freaking lucky anyway. You're never going to replicate that. That was Washington fumbling it and Shanahan having a prior relationship with him. You got to draft these guys. You got to draft them high. And if you don't, you're going to keep getting punked by Leonard Williams and Byron Murphy and Jaron Reed and all those dudes.
Well, one thing that I see, Grant, is that it has tilted. You know, right now, teams with the best trenches don't necessarily have the most dynamic skill guys, right?
Yep.
They're
The Seahawks
owning
don't
the
necessarily
liners.
have the most dynamic skills guys.
They don't, right?
No, they
it's
have one.
JSN. It's JSN and who else? Right,
They got
honestly.
2 good running backs, a great wide receiver, and a bunch of solid players after that.
Yeah, Rashid Shaheed was good for them. He's a good
AJ
guy
Barner.
coming in. Yeah, but they don't have much. What they have is what the rest of the league has not done. And I believe that, honestly, it's not just the 49ers. There's a lot of teams where if you look at their money and how they're spent, there's a lot of money poured into their skill guys and not a lot of money going towards their trenches, quite honestly. Maybe your edges. The Niners used to major in not only depth, but prioritizing offensive line and defensive line. And now that we see what actually is the winning football, which is, NFL's a meritocracy. Whoever wins the Super Bowl, that's it. That's how football is played. And how football is played, thank God, is the trenches. They have to get, honestly, for me, they've got to go back and start doubling down. I think we're thinking about this completely wrong with, Niners just need starters. No. The Niners need to do what the Eagles do. When the Eagles have a good offensive line, what do they go out and do in the draft? They still go draft offensive linemen.
Yep.
They still go get them.
Every year.
Right?
Dude, if the Niners
what.
spend their first-round pick on a wide receiver, there's a high likelihood he doesn't play much as a rookie and that the Niners keep doing nothing against the Seahawks. If you actually get if you hit on a really good offensive lineman, that could change the whole equation against the Seahawks. It could force them to play a base defense. It could compel them to get 8 in the box, and then it could actually open up your passing game. You're not going to beat them over the top with Ricky Pearsall or any wide receiver you draft in round 1 if you can't get them out of that 2-man shell.
Yeah.
That 2-man shell.
Yeah, it's the physical side of football where you got to take the play callers out of the game and let the boys play. That's the biggest thing about the Seahawks that I see from them being physical. All of the guys that they have, the rookies that they have, the offensive line, all of that stands out. But the biggest thing overall for me is they play free. They play physical. They do not have a lot of things bogging them down. They do not come into the game with all of this process of how to exactly get things done. Things get really simple when you could just whoop ass up front, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Like you really don't have to get scientific with your play sheet when you're getting 3 yards, 5 yards a pop, 4 yards a pop running the ball. It's really not that hard. The Niners we've leaned way too much into the process of how we get things done, how intricate our infrastructure is with making sure that we get the perfect receiver that can fill this role of a guy that's not here anymore, that we think this role is good because this guy had success in it in the past. It's like, no, how about we just go get the best guard? Go get the best center. Go get a tackle.
And what's tough about that is like when you wait till free agency to do that, good. The best offensive linemen don't hit free agency. Trent Williams has never been a free agent. Like he hasn't even been a lame duck. Like he just gets locked up. Joe Thomas never was a free agent. He was just the Browns held on for dear life. I mean, if you really want good offensive linemen, you either have to spend $1 bajillion for guys who aren't that good, or you draft them. If you want good defensive linemen, I mean, Seahawks traded for Leonard Williams. Seahawks signed DeMarcus Lawrence. They signed Uchenna Nwosu. They did draft Byron Murphy, but you can sign good edge rushers for $12, $13 million a year. You can sign excellent. You can trade for really good defensive tackles like Leonard Williams and pay him $20-something million a year. Like it's the tackles and the quarterbacks and the wide receivers that are just so freaking expensive. So, and the offensive line in general. So if you want to address the offensive line, it seems like you have to address it early in the draft, and the Niners just don't want to. They did with those two dudes from Notre Dame, and neither one was that good, and they've been, scared off since then. I think they got to re-examine that strategy. The Seahawks did. I think them taking Zabel was important. He might not even be as good as Eman Worry, but it was a big step for that franchise. And the Niners, the last time they had a really dominant offensive line was with Harbaugh. And remember, in 2010, they drafted Anthony Davis with the 10th pick, and they drafted like Mike Upati with the 17th pick. The Niners haven't had a guard like Mike Upati since Mike Upati.
Mike Upati. I was just about to say since Mike Upati.
Damn, he was good.
Phenomenal, bro. Just oak, made out of wood, bro. Like just day in, day out, rarely hurt. You know what I mean? Like just whooping ass. You can run behind them. Any type of scheme that you want to run, you could do it. Honestly, the Gray Zabel pick is something that you love to see from a standpoint of like, it's almost like it's not, like you said, it's not like a knockdown, drag out pick where you just love how it goes. But what it really does is that it kind of reminds you of like a Landon Dickerson pick for the Eagles, right? Not highly touted, but this guy majors in what he does. Toughness, playing ball, being able to move up and down the offensive line wherever you need him. He's going to play until he's going to be there in the winter. He's going to be there in the summer. He's going to be there in the fall. A guy that you just have to pay and you have to respect. There has to be, all right, it's almost like, on your computer where you have like root files. You can erase everything on your computer when you delete everything, but you cannot touch your root files. That's exactly how the computer runs. You have to have those. There needs to be root file like positions that get paid on this team that we just do it automatically. Offensive linemen need to be a part of the root files of this team. We can't touch that anymore.
And what I love about the Seahawks now is that McDonald, people may not realize that he's a Harbaugh guy. He was with John Harbaugh in Baltimore, but he was with Jim Harbaugh at Michigan. And I know Harbaugh has Mike McDaniel now, which is interesting, but historically, Harbaugh's been kind of the antithesis of a Shanahan offense. He wants to run power. He wants to run between the tackles. He's not a wide zone guy. He wants to bully you with the offensive line. He was the one that had that viral quote a couple of years ago about how the offensive line is the fist of the offense and is the only position group that makes everyone else better. McDonald comes from that tradition, and he looks at the Niners offense and thinks small, soft. Why would I match up? I mean, I would match up against a Harbaugh offense when they got those behemoths on the offensive line. If there was Joe Staley and Mike Upati and Anthony Davis, that'd be a different story. But we're looking at Dominic Pooney and Colton Kivitz and Spencer Burford. Like, I'm not respecting that. And that's going to be the case. Even Kyle himself said before the Super Bowl, like, well, the only thing you can really do against his defense is run the ball if you can. Well, you can't. So is it Christian's fault? Because he's not going anywhere. It seems like it's pretty clearly the offensive line's fault. And if you go into the season without a serious left guard like you did last year, nothing's going to change against the teams that you need to beat.
Right. And I love it. I love this because this takes almost a little bit of process away from Kyle. It makes him do the things that only a head coach is supposed to do. Like, just do the right thing, bro. Like, I get it. he's not going to get any reps. This has got a guy that's going to run routes. Go get a left guard that you have to pay. All right? That's a thorn in your side, maybe that can help you from not overpaying a receiver that you want to keep. Go get a left guard. And honestly, I wouldn't mind if they kept Trent, going to get his successor in this draft.
Yeah, absolutely. Bill Kennedy says, how do you get along with the players you criticize? I don't always, but sometimes I do. Usually the ones that are very supremely confident take it as a challenge to change someone's mind. TVYT143 says, is there an argument that Pinheiro is more important than Trent Williams? Yeah, in the sense that I would like to keep Pinheiro, and I'm open to finding a new left tackle. Joseph Ehrenberg says, as a fan, I actively root against this team. I love this guy. It's hilarious. Okay. So the Niners have picked 27. The combine is underway. They're finally getting into the underwear Olympics today. It's early, but given your preliminary work on the draft, who are some players at 27 that you think are in play?
Okay, so obviously we started talking tackle. I think Monroe Freeling is at play. Guard from Georgia, 6'7", 315, young guy, 21 years old, very good feet, strong hands, athletic, not just for his size, but athletic, period, which is a plus. He's got a lot of upside. This could be somebody that could actually sit behind Trent and wait to be his successor. I don't see him being plugged in as a left guard Band-Aid and kind of moving over. He is a pure tackle. I'd love to pick him up at 27. Also, if we're staying on the tackle side of the game, Caleb Lomu, tackle from Utah, 6'6", 304. He's an outside zone tackle type guy. He's a little bit more fundamental, a little less athletic than Monroe Freeling, but stronger. All right, this guy is really tough in the run game. He does not get fooled on stunts and TE twists. He's very conscientious on the edge. He's somebody that even if you get kind of like a big, flashy edge that usually uses dip and rips to kind of get around him, he envelops guys. He's very poised. I like Caleb Lomu. Now, if we're looking at as far as skill is concerned, I would love to go with Sadiq at tight end. Right? That's the number one tight end in this year's draft. Kenyon Sadiq, 6'3", 245 from Oregon. He's a move tight end, all right? So he's not necessarily your traditional attached tight end where he can block big ends or smaller outside linebackers. He can do it. All right. That's one thing that they can work on and develop that here, but that's not necessarily his forte. What he majors in is the pass game, dynamic catches, making guys miss. All right. Getting safeties down in the lane on that hash, routing them up, stemming outside of them. Really big guy. He'll lay out and go get balls too. That's another thing. Very athletic. Also a big yak guy, right? So he's not all routes. One thing about him is that he turns into a running back once he gets the ball. He's dynamic. I think that not only could he be somebody that could be a number one for us and play in the stead of George Kittle to get him ready, but he could also play with George. Another thing. Also, I think because of his base as far as being a strong athlete, right, he can actually block. Playing him at H would not be something that I couldn't see happening with Kenyon Sadiq. Now, if we're looking at anything about edge this year is loaded. There's tons of edges in this year's draft. Some guys that I like are the Akeem Messidor, who played opposite Reuben Bain Jr., who's going to be a very high pick out of Miami. The one thing about Akeem Messidor is that he is a little sawed off as far as size is concerned. They say he's 290. He's more of 275, 280 on a good day. One thing that I like about Akeem Messidor is that he kind of is built like Kevin Givens in a sense, right? Not that tall, not that long of an athlete, stumped down. But one thing that he does do is he can run. Akeem Messidor is somebody that can go sideline to sideline, can penetrate. He's also somebody who may get enveloped in the run game, but as far as like chasing down on weak side tosses, backside cracks, Hakeem Messidor is your guy. Another guy that I like coming out of Missouri is Zion Young, 6'5", 262. He's somebody who I don't think of necessarily as a first-round pick, definitely a second-round guy. But if edges go quick, there could be like 7, 8 edges that go quick in this year's draft. He's somebody that you may want to snatch up early if you're looking at somebody to go forward to. Now, if they want to go guard, an interior offensive lineman, right? This year's draft, like I said, is way more talented than last year's draft. And because of that, players and groups and position groups are getting pushed down the draft just because of so much talent. Now, this year's this year's guard class, their top 10 of these guys could have very well gone in the lower half of the first round or the second round last year. That's how good they are. But because of how good this year's draft is, these are these are third round picks, top 50 picks, top 75 picks, but early day 3 picks. One guy that is worth his weight in gold as far as first rounds are concerned is Vega Iawone, the guard out of Penn State, 6'4", 333. He can play in any scheme. All right. This is somebody where he will be the best guard that we've seen play since Michael Patti. First day we play him. So
hey, if he's there at 27, why not? I don't know if he'll be there.
Yeah, definitely. Now, somebody that's a little bit more realistic. Everybody's heard this name before, Jennings Dunker out of Iowa, right? 6'5",
They just drafted a guard out of Iowa last year. You know the scheme fit.
Outside zone guard. And he also plays a little bit of tackle as well. So we may have somebody who can help us if he doesn't start. He could be a swing tackle for us. I love Jennings' play. He's very flexible. He's got good hips, dexterity in his hands. He's strong too. One thing that I mean about dexterity is that he has independent hands. I love the way that he picks up stunts. He's able to keep hands off and be able to switch on. He's not a double puncher. Also, some guys that I like at guard as well. Jaden Roberts out of Alabama, 6'5", 335. Another good guy. Kalen Rutledge out of Georgia Tech. There's tons of guards, Grant, this year. Yep. Chase Basantis. If we don't go Vega Iawone, if they went in the second round and picked up Chase Basantis, the guard out of Texas A&M, he'd be crazy.
There's two guards coming out of Texas A&M this year.
Yeah. I don't really like this year's receiving class, to be honest with you. I don't see anybody that's necessarily dynamic. I think that the number 1 receiver overall, I know people are going to say Coach is crazy. I think Carnell Tate is a number 2 receiver. And that's the best receiver in the league. I mean, best receiver in the draft right now. Guys that make sense for us. I don't think that if we're going X hunting, nobody in the first 5 guys is our guy. That includes Omar Cooper Jr., who's the Debo clone that everybody likes, Casey Concepcion, who we've already talked about, coming out of Texas A&M, even Mekhi Lemon, who I've heard people talk about. None of these guys are true X's. The only guy that I see as a prototypical X that we could pick up right now would be David Boston out of Washington, 6'4", 209.
Denzel Boston. David Boston was when we were kids.
I'm sorry, yes, Denzel Boston, sorry. 6'4", 205. You can put him on the outside. He'll take the top off. He'll require the number 1 corner in him to have basically a phone booth game all game. And on top of it, he's tough as nails. He can run the full route tree. He can run those crossers. He can get inside. He can play small ball with Brock with all of those comebacks, hooks, and slants. That's somebody who I would go for. That's actually worth the first round pick. Now, if we got a receiver outside of the first round pick, Zachariah Branch is my guy. I like Zachariah Branch too. Yes, dynamic receiver. Yeah. We already saw him at USC, transferred to Georgia. He was their everything guy. Running back, slots, comebacks, punt returner, kick returner, just their do-it-all ball hawk. Some guys that I also like as far as...
That being said, though, like, he's a little short, and I wonder Brock Purdy's fit with shorter wide receivers just because he's a little short, too. And I'm watching Kenyon Sadiq, dude. Kenyon Sadiq and Brock Purdy would be a pretty nice combination.
It'd be nasty.
He's a bigger receiver, and he's good over the middle, but you can do him. You can use him like on wheel routes and stuff outside the numbers too. And he's really good after the catch. Like I don't know what kind of a blocker he is, but he could really be a go-to guy mismatch in the pass game that you could give a ton of targets to.
For sure. Now let's get to what we've all been waiting for. The position that you and I love to talk about, defensive tackle, because I believe that defensive tackle is where the Niners should go in the first round, honestly. Okay. I think that we need to double down on something that we actually found a lot of headway in last year. We were absolutely abysmal at stopping the run the year before in 2024. Horrible. For us to come in and have somebody like an Alfred Collins step up, we finally got some consistency out of Kalia Davis, all right? We need to help those guys out. All right. They barely got through the season healthy. And I think doubling down on defensive tackle for us to be able to just stop the run. And that gives us a fighting chance. And what is today's NFL right now? The Seahawks are going to run all over us. We need to be able to stop the run. My guy is defensive tackle Peter Woods out of Clemson. 6'3", 315. Peter Woods is a better version of Walter Nolan in my opinion. All right. Peter Woods, he is somebody who can be a true 3 technique for us. All right. He can run all over the field. We're talking about a guy that's tipping at 315 to 320 pounds, Grant, but he's running a sub 4.8 40. All right. This guy can get sideline to sideline, penetrate in the backfield, hold and anchor down, take on double teams. This is somebody that can actually help out Alfred Collins and honestly unlock talent that we already have here. This is what I mean by that. CJ West is having a rough go of it as far as finding his place on the depth and actually ascending to what we think he should be. I thought, along with others, that even when we picked up Alfred Collins, there were whispers that CJ West was going to be the tackle, the other D tackle that kind of started faster. And it looked that way earlier on in OTAs and minicamp. CJ West was somebody whose name was always coming up. When the pads came on and we started playing real football, his name kind of dwindled and it went that way into the season. One thing about CJ West is that he's just not a big player. He doesn't have a big frame. The type of game that he has is that of DJ Jones, right? He wants to hunker down, get into that shade position, put 2 hands on the center, and actually 2-gap. He doesn't get to be able to do that necessarily playing at the 5 or the 3 technique because he doesn't have that length. He gets enveloped by bigger guards. One thing about getting Peter, and because of that, we don't use him as much. One thing about getting Peter Woods and be able to have him spell and play opposite Kalia Davis or Alfred Banks. I mean, his name is Alfred Banks, right? No, it's not. Alfred Collins. Alfred Collins. I'm sorry. Alfred Collins would be able to give CJ West a true role in the packages that we know are coming from Coach Morris with this 34 look. Now, I think that can help us out a lot. So being able to get another D tackle not only helps us, but it strengthens the versatility that we have that we can't necessarily unlock because we don't have that depth. We need depth.
I hear you. I would rather take Caleb Lomo if he's there.
Okay.
But this guy seems really good. I mean, nothing against him. He might be like, I don't know enough about Peter Woods to tell you. And honestly, they should just take the best player available. They should. But I mean, they put themselves in a position where if they take Peter Woods, it raises questions about their picks from last year. I mean, because the way I look at, we've talked about this. Alfred Collins is a good prospect. I don't know what kind of upside he has. But Kyle Williams was your first-round pick, and I don't think he's an edge rusher. I don't think he's an edge player at all. I think he is a very young 3 technique who needs to put on about 30 pounds.
Yep.
So if you bring in Peter Woods, great, man. But that raises questions about Collins and Kyle Williams in the future to me, which is fine. Maybe they're not the answer. Maybe this guy is. But if you could add a first-round pick to your offensive line, that would be so exciting. And whether he could play left tackle, left guard. Could Caleb Lomu play guard for a year?
I think he could. I think he could do it. He's got the fundamentals too. And he's so poised at that left tackle spot that I think that him playing guard would work really. Right?
Well, there's going to be a lot of good options. Joseph Ernberg says, watch Kyle trade up for Jeremiah Love. That'd be pretty far. All right. Speaking of trades, the Niners clearly want to trade Mac Jones, but they probably want to trade him for a second-round pick, maybe an early third they would take. So far, there hasn't been any discussion about a big market for Mac Jones. Maybe there is one. We've heard all about Malik Willis. He's supposed to be the number 1 free agent on the market, or he was ranked the number 1 free agent on the market. He's going to get like $40 million a year. We've heard about Spencer Rattler. We've heard about Anthony Richardson. Kirk Cousins is going to be on the market. What do you think the market for Mac Jones really is right now? What do you think he's really worth? What do you think they could really get for him right now?
A third.
I'm not even sure they could get that.
Really?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say higher.
I like Mac Jones a lot, but any team that trades for him is going to have to give him an extension as well. That brings down his trade value, and he's not mobile. And you've seen him on a lot of other teams where he wasn't that good. He's not necessarily going to make you good. I could see a lot of teams being like, all right, he was good with Kyle, but I don't want to trade a third and then give him $30 million a year to find out that he's the same guy who was backing up Trevor Lawrence in Jacksonville.
I do
Just
see
saying.
team like I think Minnesota would take on Mac. They took on Sam.
They might, but I don't know that they would offer a third round pick for him. They didn't trade anything for Sam. Sam was just a free agent.
Well, also too, trading for Mac also, we gotta have the prisoner of the moment like situation. Trading for Mac when everything is calm and you have all the time in the world to really assess what he is and what you would have to pay for him. I do agree. I think that third, fourth round pick, fifth round pick, even, that would be on par for getting Mac Jones. But if the Niners hold on to Mac, and something happens during the draft and you got somebody where they're panic buying, and you gotta. I wouldn't move Mac unless he was inside of a panic window. That's what I would do, right? So a panic window would be right before the trade deadline during the season next year, right before the draft or during the draft this year. I wouldn't give anybody time to really see what they're buying. You know what I mean? Like I would make somebody acquire Mac under duress.
It just seems like people are like, well, there's going to be a huge market for Mac because there isn't a really strong quarterback class coming out in the draft. But I don't think that's really the point. I mean, Malik Willis is going to go to a team. He's a free agent and he's going to take precedent over Mac. And then there's also Kirk Cousins. Like Minnesota could trade a third theoretically for Mac Jones and give him an extension, or they could just not trade anything for Kirk Cousins, bring him back, give him a 1-year deal. He'd probably be cheaper. I like Mac Jones a lot, but I think trading for him, acquiring him is semi-complicated, which affects the 49ers. So when they say, we just don't want to give him up, it's like, it's because you're not, you know that no one's calling you. No one's calling you offering what you want. And if they would, I think we'd hear about it.
Well, Mac Jones is kind of just like, it's like he's a bubble. You gotta, he's only hot unless you make the move when he's hot. Mm-hmm. Outside of that, once he cools off, you'll never know if it'll get hot again. So that's what I mean by like, once you get Mac inside of a panic window where it's like, if somebody's calling, that's your market. That's not your time to mark that off in the box and say, we told you somebody wants Mac. That's confirmation to hold him. No, if somebody comes knocking, that's your shot, and you need to move them. But at the same time, we already know this. I don't think that this team will ever have Brock Purdy as a starter without having a backup with starting experience.
That's true.
We're not going to move on from Mac unless we pick up Kirk Cousins.
It's like also, why trade for Mac when you could just sign him next year? Like you could just wait. Yeah. If you really wanted to trade for a quarterback, what about Spencer Rattler? I wouldn't be surprised if there's a lot of interest in him. He's younger than Mac Jones. He's still on his rookie deal. You could get him for 2 more years and not making a decision about whether to extend him. You could probably get Spencer Rattler for a 4th round pick. So if you could get Spencer Rattler for a 4th, why am I trading the 3rd for Mac?
Only thing about Spencer Rattler is that he's had no success. He's had consistency.
He's 1-13 as a starter, but honestly, when I was in New Orleans, I was impressed by him. I thought he was better that day than Mac. I thought he was good against the Niners. I mean, I don't know that he turned the ball. I don't think he turned the ball over. He's mobile. He's got a pretty strong arm. He's kind of small. He's a little Brock Purdy sized. I like Spencer Rattler. I think he's pretty good. And it's like, he started off 1-13. So did Darnold. So did Steve Young. Like I think we're learning more and more not to write off young quarterbacks.
You know what I mean? Personal with me. I need to get over myself.
Yeah.
I didn't like
Spencer Rattler on the Niners. He wouldn't be 1-13.
I followed him in college, and I really
was
not
a bit of a jerk, right? He had a bad reputation.
He was a huge jerk in college. Yeah. So that's why I don't.
He seems like he got humbled. I don't know if that he is humbled, but he got humbled. Yeah.
Yeah, he did get humbled.
Yeah. All right, that's enough of Mac. We'll see if I don't think the Niners trade him. There are rumors that the Niners are going to trade Renardo Green. Larry Krueger first said this like during the season, and then ESPN came out a couple of days ago and said that there's an 80% chance that the Niners trade him. It wasn't really it was reported by Dan Graziano. So Grazi. Should the Niners trade Renardo Green? I mean, he hasn't been a liability. He only has one pick in 2 seasons. He had one pick at Florida State, but double-digit pass breakups last couple of years. What do you think?
No, not yet. Renardo has shown some good upside. The best thing, not the best thing, but one of the good problems that you have with him is that it seems like a lot of his issues seem to be from the neck up. He loses confidence sometimes, loses sight of what the objective is during the game. A lot of times he kind of misses assignments, and I think that there's kind of like there's a gap between him understanding his job, him having confidence in himself, and him knowing that the coaches have confidence in him, right? I don't necessarily see a performance issue with Renardo Green. It's not like he's not fast enough or he's not quick enough or he can't play the position. A lot of his stuff is, character stuff where he's got to get out of his own head. I want us to hold on to him also because I think that it'll do him well to have Coach Gray here. I believe that Coach Gray would really help him out, give him somebody to give him some solid tutelage, and also hear a different voice. I think that Coach Bullock's. Let me put it like this: when you get a coach that's really pushing towards that coordinator side of his career, he's less and less of a position coach and more of a coordinator. And when you get position coaches that are really they're like 1 foot out the door about to be a coordinator, the worst people that get the brunt of that is rookies, young guys that they do not have the time to walk through things because they've already had guys who know what they want and how to get things done. I believe there's a little bit of that with Renardo Green as well. I don't want us to trade him. I think he's solid, and I think that him with another offseason and being healthy will be able to help us out. I don't want to move on from him, not yet.
I think he's underrated, and I think the Niners have a bad track record of evaluating their own corners. They've gotten rid of corners, and they've gone on to other places and done well. Like,
yes, they have.
You know what I mean? Like, they should be careful here. He's 25 years old. In this last year, he started 14 games. He gave up a quarterback rating of 80 when targeted. He gave up, I'm trying to look how many touchdowns he gave up. One. He gave up one pick. He's a pretty good cornerback. And, like, if the Niners had given up on Diamondre Lenore after 2 years, they wouldn't have got much for him, and they wouldn't have seen him develop into the player that he is. He really blossomed in year 3. If you trade Renardo Green right now, that's a guy you drafted in round 2. You might be able to get a 4th-round pick for Renardo right now. It's kind of selling low. I don't like it. I mean, This is a guy who's had to deal with 2 coordinators in 2 years. Now he's on coordinator number 3. And if you trade him, it feels personal. Like, we saw that little thing between him and Kyle Shanahan on the sideline, and Kyle was yelling at him. And Renardo Green wasn't yelling back, but he kind of like wasn't facing him or looking him in the eye. So makes you wonder what's going on there. I think it would be a mistake. It would feel like selling low.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. There's guys that have left here that, we go hard on corners here. Akello Weatherspoon didn't have the best time here. And look at what he's doing in the league, man. He's still playing, man. I was so hurt when we let Sam go.
Yeah.
So I want to hold on to Renardo.
Oh, there was that DJ Reed originally. That was terrible.
DJ Reed. That was the original sin. DJ Reed. So I want to hold on to him, 4th-round picks, whatever. He was a 2nd-round pick. It's time for the Niners to just show some development with their guys. This team does not do well with early picks. They've got to stick with these guys.
And they got to quit giving up on their own picks after a year or two. Like, you draft a guy and you have all these high expectations and he has one bad year or he gets injured. It's like, you know what? He's dead to me. Like, Isaac Guerrero, dead to you. Jacob Cowing, dead to you. Like, how many guys are you just going to give up on? Jordan James, could they talk about, we're going to redshirt him and stuff? Are you? It seems like when the redshirt season is over, you've completely lost interest in the player.
It's giving broke. That's what it's giving. You know what it is? It's like, when you go out with your broke friend, the broke friend in the group is the one who's always asking questions. Where are we going? How much is this going to cost? It's like they're always have to be angling because they're broke. They don't have money. The Niners, it's like you always get rid of these high draft picks that aren't overplaying their contract because you're afraid that when you have to pay them, you may have to pay them with what the investment was. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, let's get rid of them now because we don't We don't see the trajectory, or we don't forecast him being worth the money that we're going to have to pay him once his deal comes. So let's try to move him for parts. It's like, dude, develop him.
Yeah. All right, let's change gears here.
Changing gears.
People John Lynch even said, like, they may bring back someone familiar. And a lot of people interpret that as Deebo Samuel. That would be one of the more unpopular moves they could make. I think the 49ers know it. I bet you $50 last week they're going to bring back Deebo, didn't I? Bet you 50.
You did.
I bet you
bet me 50.
I did. Okay.
What did I text you? What did I text you?
I forget.
I text you. I said, I got to give you back I might have to send you your money. After John
All right.
said, oh, well, we're bringing somebody back. We're definitely
right. So my
somebody
question
back.
is, if it's not Deebo, because it shouldn't be Deebo, even though I put money on it, should it be Dre Greenlaw? Should the 49ers re-sign Dre Greenlaw? He would count. It seems like he's definitely leaving Denver. He was never really healthy this year. He's now 2 years removed from an Achilles injury. He's not even 30 years old yet. He used to be the heart and soul of the defense and the team. What do you think? What do you think? Greenlaw.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Bring Dre Greenlaw back. He's ours. Okay? He's supposed to be here. If you're going to have Kyle Shanahan here, if you're going to run this defense, and you're going to have Fred Warner and all these guys here, Dre Greenlaw and what he brings to not only the field and this locker room would be a welcome sight. It'd be damn near like getting Coach Salah back, in effect. All right? So, yes. Now, let's just deal with what's there in the center.
I feel like he'd be affordable. He'd be cheaper than Deebo.
Bring him
and again,
back.
2 years removed from the injury. You have nothing to lose. If he's not good, you still have D winners.
He'd be happy here too.
Yeah.
So bring
my
him
only
back.
question is, do you think they burned the bridge? Do you think there's still like a personal thing, or do you think you feel like, you know what? I left. I was in my feelings. I had reasons. The grass wasn't greener. I want to go back.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
I would see. I could see all of that happening.
Okay.
Dre is definitely a Niner for life. I want to bring him back. I think that the injuries are not necessarily as problematic as they would be. This is the thing. Dre needs rest. All right. He's young, man.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys who take on these hardcore injuries that are physical players by nature, they get back as soon as they can, and they're not ready. Dre Greenlaw coming back for like, maybe, what was that, one game in 2024? Came back.
Game, really.
Half a game. The defense are completely different. If you don't see that, you're lying to yourself or you're blind. All right? Yeah. Dre being on the field for that 15 minutes made us all
They held the Rams to 12 points that day. What was the last time the Niners defense did something like that?
Come on, bruh.
Yeah.
So he has a role here, okay? He knows exactly how to play here. And the biggest thing that he needs is rest. He needs to recover. All right? Now, when you come off serious injuries like ACLs, Achilles injuries, things like that, you're healthy in effect of, yo, the tendon is back. You can still pass your physical test and do everything you need to do. But you're not necessarily back. Scar tissue, being able to settle those injuries, take time, all right, to be able to take those dynamic movements and still have rest, right? When you're back, that stuff takes time. And one thing about Dre that we never gave him while he was here was rest. Never. We all watched Dre literally beat himself down until he got hurt on air that year, all right? He shouldn't have played against the Green Bay Packers, pulling himself off the ground, launching his body at people, all right? Even to the point where when we finally got him to the Super Bowl, we all know what happened. I want Dre Greenlaw back. I think that he will be able to not only help this defense in all the ways that I just mentioned, but another big thing is all of these young rookies who don't know about the funk. They don't know about the real deal defense. I want them to experience that.
You know what's another reason? Another reason, and I think there's like all the reasons to bring him back, but you just named a bunch. One more. You know who else would benefit from the return of Dre Greenlaw?
Fred!
Thank you.
Come on!
Is it a coincidence that Fred's worst
season,
that Fred finally got injured for the first time ever, really, when Dre Greenlaw? I'm not saying it's someone's fault, but I just feel like Dre has Fred's back and vice versa. They bring the best out of each other. I think Fred needs Dre back.
Yes, they do. They play off of each other. Like, I'm going to be honest with you. I love Fred. Fred is elite at a lot of things. That's what makes him one of the best, if not the best linebacker in football. However, there are things that Dre Greenlaw majors in that Fred could never reach, that level of physicality, that level of prey drive, that level of tenacity. It's just not in them. And them playing together really allowed each other to play free because there's certain things that you didn't have to worry about. I think that Fred took on a lot of what Dre left behind playing next to younger guys. Like, it's not as if they replaced Dre with like another physical linebacker. They got D winners, all right? Like,
And they got Nick Martin. Don't forget Nick Martin.
Yeah, come on. The antithesis of what Dre Greenlaw is.
Yeah.
I think that Fred Warner took on a lot of wear and tear holding down that spot with those young backers near him. I'd love Dre back. And what's even crazier is that with Dre back, depending on what the money looks like, he may not even have to start. We could use him in a package role where we could really get him fresh. What do you think about that?
I think so too. I mean, I don't think he would have much contract leverage in negotiations this offseason, given the last 2 seasons he's had. I think he'd probably want to come back to the 49ers, be in a place that he's familiar with, where he could get healthy and get back on the field in a system he knows and play well. So that, I mean, he might want to just sign a 1-year deal so that he could re-enter the market next year after, probably having a really good year with the Niners and see what happens. I think it'd be best for both parties.
History repeats itself, Grant. There was a time where we had a bunch of young puppies who didn't have a kill under their belt. And we needed one guy to come in there and teach them how to hunt, and that was Quan Alexander. Quan came in here and showed these dudes, he gave them prey drive. He let them see what a dead body looks like, blood. And they all took it and expounded upon it. I think that Dre could come here and be that guy where other guys get the license to understand, oh, you can play this wild? Yes, you can. You can play this crazy. So I want Dre back.
Who's going to be the enforcer on the Niners defense if it ain't Dre Greenlaw? Because all the things you could say about Fred Warner, future first ballot Hall of Famer, not really an enforcer. Let's switch it up. Let's look to a different position. Edge rusher. We know the Niners need another one. They need an interior rusher too. They have Nick Bosa, and that's about it. Bryce Huff, I wasn't impressed. Let me start naming some names. The first one that pops into my mind, well, we saw that the Titans and Robert Saleh traded for Jermaine Johnson today, which is just amazing considering, there's a possibility the Niners could have done that. But hey, maybe they wanted to make sure that Saleh would get him in Tennessee. So he's not available. They could go and sign guys. And what is cool about edge rushers, they're often cheaper than offensive linemen. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if Spencer Burford gets $15 million a year on the market this year simply because Jalen Moore did last year. But I'm looking at Spot Track, and it says that impending Seattle Seahawks edge rusher Boye Mafe, former second-round pick, could be signed for 3 years, 36 this offseason, $12 million a year. That seems reasonable to me. What do you think of Boye Mafe?
I'm not a fan.
Okay.
One thing, and I get it, one thing about Boye Mafe is that he got picked up in 2022 by the Seattle Seahawks, all right? He was already a tweener coming in. He had to gain about 50 pounds to take him to about 265 pounds. The biggest thing about him, Grant, is his production. Off of 2022 coming in, 2023, he played 16 games. He had 9 sacks, 52 tackles, 9 tackles for loss, and 51 pressures. That was a 12.2 pressure rate. Since then, in 3 years in the league, he's gone from 12.2 to 11.1 pressure rate. Now, he's only got 2 sacks on the past season that he's played, and he's kind of been an afterthought with Seattle as far as production is concerned. He only had 4 tackles for loss. Now, if you go and look at what we've done as far as like the Niners defensive line, what would we be adding on with that 11.1 pressure rate? He's 2 tenths below Bryce Huff with 4 sacks, who was our who was tied with our lead sack getter this year with Cleveland Farrell. And then after that, we have guys that are much better than him. I think that his two sacks would tie him with the injury limit of Nick Bosa, right? If he had with his 2 sacks, and Nick didn't even play the rest of the season, and his 11.1 pressure rate is only marginally better than Bryce Huff with 11.3. He'd essentially be a lateral move for what the 49ers already have. So I get that we need depth, and we absolutely need another edge rusher to not only probably spell Nick Bosa but play opposite him. But I just don't think he's the guy. And I don't want to get into this mode of us picking up these middling players that played on good teams. He doesn't help us.
I mean, he was in a pretty deep rotation. They had 4 edge rushers. He had 44 pressures last season, despite not playing a ton of snaps. He's really good against the run. He can drop into coverage. He gives you the ability to play a 3-4 out, a 3-4. He's a hell of an athlete. I like him a lot. I think he's a really well-rounded player. I think he weakens your rival. I mean, I just like $12 million a year is nothing. It's nothing.
You know who I like?
Who?
Odafe Owe.
I love Odafe. He might be a little bit more expensive, but he's very good too. They could have traded for him.
He'd be worth it though.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think that Odafe Owe would be actually worth it. He would come in and he could start for us immediately. Also, he fits into that 3-4, that 34 package stuff that we may start doing this year. I think John actually mentioned that with the addition of Raheem Morris, that they absolutely are going to start looking in free agency and in the draft for some curated guys that actually fit the 34. So I believe that Odafe is somebody who could really help us, especially over your boy, Boye Mafe. I just think that.
I mean,
I don't know if he's your boy.
With Boye Mafe, like I'm looking at his numbers. In 2023, as a second-year player, he had 9 sacks and 54 pressures. In 2024, he had 6 sacks and 49 pressures. That's still really good, especially with the pressures. And then last year, 2 sacks, 36 pressures, but he only started 4 games. I feel like a lot of his dip in production has been role-related. He's not starting anymore, and he's splitting time with DeMarcus Lawrence and Chenna Nwosu and another guy. So, I don't know. I mean, on this team, it'd be him and Bosa. Maybe a little Bryce Huff. He'd play more. I think he'd be worth the $12 million. But if they want to splurge and get a better player, by all means.
Yeah. Listen, I just think that we get another Bryce Huff. And Bryce Huff isn't bad.
No, he's better than Bryce Huff in the sense that Bryce Huff's
better than Bryce Huff?
Yeah, because Bryce Huff is just a pass rusher, and he's not even that good one. Like, this guy can defend the run.
I don't think he's that good at stopping the run.
All right. I'm not. He's better than Bryce Huff.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. But you're right. You're right. He didn't start for a reason, and he fell out of favor for a reason. If they liked him that much, they wouldn't have went out and signed DeMarcus Lawrence.
Yeah,
and they're not making an effort to bring him back.
Listen, they're letting him walk.
They're letting him walk.
I don't know. But you can't look the gift horse in the mouth. Who are we? We need depth.
Yeah, I know, right? Because what I want to say is, like, for the Niners, I'm not really into them drafting defensive linemen. Like, you guys suck at it. You're not good at it. You keep trying. Drake Jackson, CJ West, Michael Williams at 11, Javon Kinlaw at 15. Like, or 14.
No,
you're not
you
good
can't
at it.
throw Michael in there. You're throwing a Michael in there right away.
Well, I mean, he wasn't a pass rusher. He was good, but he was exactly what you thought he would be. Like, he's not really an edge rusher, and he's a major freaking project as a pass rusher at any position. It's not like they threw him at D tackle on 3rd down and he was bullying people. Like, I don't know. I mean, he looks like a guy who's going to have a 10-year career, but he did not look like the 11th pick in the draft. And as you pointed out, this year's draft is much better. If he had come out this year, would he have even been a 1st-round pick? I don't know.
No.
That's all I'm saying. Good player.
Yeah.
Out of position. All right, Boye Mafe, Odafe Owe. What about wide receivers? We heard over the weekend that the Niners are going to be interested in Mike Evans. Let's start there. That's a future Hall of Fame wide receiver. He was great. He's like the prototypical X. He's 6'5", and he can get down the field, but he's old, and he missed half the year last year, and he wasn't good last year.
Yeah, I don't like the move. This is the thing. Mike, when you can't phase out a Mike Evans. If you bring in a Mike Evans, his reputation and cachet is automatically gonna take over some section of the offense, right? Because football's about respect in a sense. I don't want to spend. We don't have that much time to put things into an old player who has a high potential to be re-injured. I don't like the move. It's time onward and upward, bro. Like, Mike Evans would be a pick. Again, we're missing the plot. And I hope they're not thinking this way, but that's some shit you do where it's like we're trying to go get a Super Bowl. We need one guy that can kind of help us out with this issue. That's not where we are. So
if the Seahawks did it, you'd be like, okay, I kind of understand it, but I'd still be like, I'm not a fan. He's
right.
I don't know.
But at least you would understand it because you're like, well,
Yeah.
maybe he needs to help them with red zone. He's near the end of his career. You know,
Yeah.
they're winning. But for us, it's just like you're grasping at straws. What do you think he's going to do for you?
Yeah, he's not going to put you over the top. All right, let's do a different wide receiver. I mean, they could bring back. Well, they could bring back Jauan. Let's go before I bring up anyone else. Jauan, he's the starting X, and he's limited. Obviously, he can't get down the field. He'd like an X receiver to be threatening you at all three levels. But on an offense that is decidedly soft, he is not. He is a dog on an offense that needs more of them. That being said, he's almost 30, and he's going to be pretty expensive. $20 million a year. What do you think?
No way, no how.
Yeah, I agree with that.
I love
I don't think there's
Jauan,
nothing to discuss there.
but
like,
it's just not gonna happen. And I hate this for him because I love him as a player, but the majority of his production that he can hang his hat on is when other players have been injured, and you've kind of been force fed the ball because that's all that's been there. You know, Jauan Jennings is a phenomenal number 3 receiver on a really good team. On a bad team, he's a number 2. Right? And those are just the facts. That's his skill set. It's what he does. He's gritty. He'll get balls. He can get third in Jauan. Jauan can do tons of things in the game as far as blocking, but he's not dynamic. And
he's going to get paid to be like a number 2 option, but he's really been the third option in the Niners offense behind Kittle and McCaffrey. He's not really the second option. Yeah.
Yeah. So, and then, you know, you can't be asking for $21+ million running the forever. That's crazy.
Running forever.
Like, come on, man.
All right, enough of Jauan. So Jauan probably wants $20 million a year, and he's 29. You could get Romeo Doubs for maybe $12 million a year, and he's 26. He's a little bit faster than Jauan Jennings. He's also 6'2", and he puts in effort as a blocker. He's a solid player. What do you think? Romeo Doubs.
that was my next guy. I love the Romeo Doubs pick. I think that you get a little bit more dynamic. You get more dynamic athleticism at the position. He's consistent, younger, somebody who's he's faster, somebody that we can actually challenge defenses with. And I think that, you know, you don't have to lean on your receivers being these amazing blockers when you actually have an offensive line. I mean, you know, I think that Romeo Doubs would be great for us. I like that pick.
I'm not wild about Romeo Doubs.
Really?
He's a solid player. He's not a bad player, but I mean, he was a sort of de facto number 1 in Green Bay, but he's not a number 1. And then Christian Watson was clearly better than him. He's good for like 3-4 catches a game. He could play X, but is he that much better? Like, is he a significant upgrade over DeMarcus Robinson?
Yes,
he's a little bit better. A little bit better than DeMarcus Robinson.
I think he's better. I think he's better than DeMarcus Robinson. He'd be cheaper, right? That's the thing. Like,
he wouldn't be cheaper. He'd be more expensive than Robinson. This guy, the most he's ever had in his career is 724 yards. The year before that, 600, 674.
No, I'm talking about cheaper.
No, DeMarcus Robinson. Let me see how much he's making. You signed him last year for, what was it? 2 years, $8 million, making $4 million a year.
Romeo Doubs, the highest he's made in a year is 3.5. He made 3.5 against the cap last year. Every other year before that, he's made 7.
Yeah, he was on his rookie deal. Now he's a free agent. He's gonna get about $12 million a year. Well, on Spot Track, they got him at 4 years, 48 is what they're estimating for Doubs.
Then no,
I'd rather give that to Boye Mafe.
Yeah. Oh, I like the way you did that there. Okay.
I'd rather give it to Odafe Owe.
I give it to Odafe Owe, but I wouldn't give it to Romeo Doubs. No. Now, when you put it in that perspective, no.
He's solid. It just feels like he's a slight upgrade over. He might be a slight upgrade over Jauan Jennings. Maybe he's younger. Is he better than Jennings? I don't know. Jennings has an actual connection with Brock Purdy. You don't know what that's going to be like between Dobbs and Purdy, but could be good.
Yeah, for sure.
Could
I
be good.
don't. And then receivers again. We just got out of this whole thing about paying receivers. We just got out of this Brandon Ayuk situation. Go get some rookies, man. Play your rookies. How about play your rookies first and see what we have?
What was the point of drafting Jordan Watkins if you don't want to play him ever? I mean, how much time does it take to develop young players? Other teams get guys on the field pretty quick, but you don't. Let's go to a different position. Running back, we all know the Niners need to sign someone. Brian Robinson Jr. is going to leave. Christian McCaffrey basically he was like, hey man, if they want to bring in someone else, that's cool by me. I'm trying to do my best over here. I got a couple names for you on the backup.
Say his name. We all have the one name.
Well, I was going to say not Debo. I was going to say Kenneth Gainwell, Rashad White. I don't know.
Okay. Brees?
I don't think they get Brees Hall.
Why?
Because Brees Hall's a starter, I think. That would be kind of a coup if they could get him.
He's a free agent.
Hey, I just think he's going to get a job to start something. Like, you really want to sign up to be Christian's backup and feel like this is the year they're going to give his backup touches? Are you sure? Are you sure, Brees? Are you sure? Why don't you give Brian Robinson a call?
If they would force him. Brian Robinson would be good too. He's not gonna stay. What do you think about Kenneth Walker?
Oh, Kenneth Walker's a hell of a player, but I think that he's going to get money. I think he's going to price himself out of Seattle and he'll start somewhere. I'd love him to start for the 49ers. I don't want Christian McCaffrey to be a starting running back anymore. I'd like to get younger. He's a good receiver, but as a running back, I don't think he does anything well anymore. And I think everyone else got thrown under the bus to protect him.
Yes. Let's look at guys who would play with Christian then. Let's do what they know they're going to do. But we know they're going to play Christian. So there's no
I think Rashad White's really good. I think Rashad White and Kenneth Gainwell are both really good players. I like them both.
Okay, what do you think about Travis Etienne?
I like him.
I like Travis Etienne. I think that he could play with Christian. Rashad White is a good one as well.
Yeah. Are the Niners going to spend more money at this position when they still haven't really given a look to their two young guys on the roster?
I was just about to say Jordan James. I forgot all about Jordan James.
They traded Debo for Jordan James.
Bro.
What was the point of trading Debo if you weren't going to use the pick that you traded him for? I don't get it.
They need to play the guys they have, bro. With the receiver, ditto. We just said it with receivers. They said it we got to say it with running back. Jordan James and Jordan Watkins need to play.
They have to.
You know what I'm saying?
They have to.
So
it's not like they played and sucked. And even Isaac Guerrero, I think he needs to play. If he's on the team, you traded up to get him. He has a unique skill set. Give him the ball once. See what he can do.
We have to use our depth, Grant. And I don't know. Kyle doesn't trust him. That's how when I was on the Kyle Shanahan train, right? Like early on, when I was so thrilled to have him as a coach, even though I knew the crap about him. One thing that I prided Kyle in was his utilization of his depth. Like playing multiple running backs, not being afraid to have the hot hand on game day. Where I remember there was a time where the starting running back was whoever had the hot hand. That was it. Everybody got about 3 to 4 carries.
Could be Breida.
Yep.
Could be McKinnon.
Could be Mostert.
Could have been Coleman.
Yeah. Come on. Could have been Coleman. And that was the day. Yeah. And it was so demoralizing, the defenses, because they could not prepare for what we were bringing that day. We become so stale in our process. It's unfortunate.
Yep. All right, let's do guards. This is a big one. Last year they went into the season with Ben Bartch as their starting left guard, and John Lynch was talking about him the other day. He was like, he's pretty good when he's healthy. Man, stop it. Get serious. So,
he's pretty good.
The best guys in the market are usually flawed. Isaac Suamalo, he's been on a few teams. He's in his mid-30s. Yeah. He's pretty good. Yeah. Would that do anything for you?
Yes. I love the Isaac Suamalo pick. I love him at left guard. Wouldn't mind having him over there. Also, Zion Johnson from the Chargers. He's available, younger than Isaac Suamalo. He's about 27 years old. I wouldn't mind having him on. Also, Spencer Burford's there. You know, that's somebody that if Spencer Burford stayed, listen, hear me out on Spencer Burford. He had a rough go of it. All right. He played tackle at UTSA for the majority of his entire career. He comes to the Niners and automatically gets stuck at right guard. That was his position. All right. Rookie year, he struggled. I remember us looking at the tape of him on him getting his feel for the game at right guard. Now, he ended up not really starting at right guard because he was rotating with John Feliciano, I believe, at the time, and they made it all the way to the Super Bowl. Brunskill.
Yeah, and Feliciano, yeah.
Feliciano, yeah. Now, at the time, you know, everybody was pretty much blaming Spencer Burford for the play, and John Feliciano didn't do him any better. But if you remember, Spencer Burford came back from that offseason yoked up in great shape. And I think he like hurt his hand or something during camp. And he was out, and he never really got on and played at all last season. And then now with the emergence of Dominic Pooney and bringing in Ben Barch and everybody rotating in, Spencer Burford was kind of like our de facto swing tackle last year, and then got put in at left guard. What I'm here to say is that he hasn't had consistency. He hasn't been put in a spot where he's had the time to be left alone. When he was at left guard, there were stretches when he was doing very well. So much so that there were talks where people were saying, well, Spencer Burford's not going to stay here. Like, as soon as he gets out in free agency, somebody's going to pay him, and he's going to move on from us, because he was showing a lot of strength and athleticism and poise at that left guard position. So I know that the left guard position needs to be solidified, but don't give up on Spencer Burford yet. He's got a ton of athleticism.
He does. I just think he's going to get paid in free agency, which is why the Niners haven't extended him yet. I mean, Jalen Moore got $15 million a year last year to be a backup. So what Aaron Banks got damn near $20 million a year, and he was awful.
Yeah.
I mean, at least for the Packers. So I wouldn't be surprised if Burford leaves. And that means if you're going to upgrade from Burford with a free agent guard, you're going to have to spend a lot of money or get a guy who's old, which is, again, why I keep coming back to drafting offensive linemen. It's what the Seahawks have been doing. You did draft Burford, and you kind of messed it up because you took him 4 years to figure out what his best position was. That's on you. I would rather draft another player and see what you could get for $1 million a year than to give $15 million a year to Spencer Burford and hope he continues improving. He's a good athlete. I don't think he's much of like a dog. I don't think he's nasty. I don't think he's particularly strong. I don't think he's displacing people at the point of attack, although he does move well.
Okay. I have one more guy for you as well that can help us out. John Simpson from the Jets.
Okay.
He could help us out as well. I really like his game. I think he's not 30 yet. He may be 30, but John Simpson, left guard out of the Jets. I really like him as well. He could help us out.
Maba says draft Wet Jen.
Wet Jen?
What does that mean? BNA established 1988 says Richardson is available if Kyle wants to run quarterback power again. LOL. Also, Kendricks, Warner, and Greenlaw would be a solid linebacker core. Yeah, why not bring back Kendricks? He was good.
Yeah,
I'd be open to that. Wallow too. Sir Molly Mall 8580 says Xavier Harris, DT, Ole Miss, 6'8", 330, paired with Collins. That'll be big.
Yeah. I don't like his motor though.
Okay. All right. Let's do some prize picks time.
Prize picks?
What are we gonna do today? Let's see.
Prize picks.
Soccer, tennis, NHL, PGA, League of something, Combine. Yeah.
They got prize picks for Combine, son?
Hell yeah. 40 time. All right. Zachariah Branch, 435, more or less.
More.
You think he's gonna run slower than that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Jeremiah Love, 441.
Less.
Okay. Kenyon Sadiq, 447. Ooh.
Less.
Ooh. Casey Concepcion, 444.
More.
Caden Proctor, didn't he weigh 360? 508.
More.
That'd be crazy if he cracked 500. So we got Keldrick Falk,
Arvell Reese.
Arvell Reese, 449.
Less.
Boom. I love the conviction with which you made these picks.
Thank you, man.
Yeah, those are coaches' combine prize picks. We're gonna flex them just to be careful. Then
Flex me.
Submit them. Flex me. Download prize picks. Use promo code COHN. Play $5. Get $50 instantly in lineups when you use that promo code. Got a few more. No, that's it. That's what we got. That's what we got for the show. It's a great show. Hour and 20.
This was a good one.
It was. Thank you, Combine. Thank you, Coach, for knowing how to scout players. Remember I'm going to stop arguing with you because last year I kept trying to tell you why Michael Williams was going to be Alden Smith, and you were like, no, I don't see that. And I'm like, I don't know what I was.
He's going to gain weight, bro.
He's going to be Eric Armstead at best, which is great. Eric Armstead had a hell of a career. Still has. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the Niners need to replace that skill set, and I think he can do it, but he's not Alden Smith.
He's not Alden Smith, no.
No. Thanks for watching, everyone. Take care.
Great time, buddy.